Such a slow news week in the world of New York sports, wasn't it? Even during the bye week, when you think you're not going to have anything to talk about, leave it to the New York Jets to come through. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday night. I got some things to say. I know you want to talk as well. I know you're going to put some things in the chat. We're going to get through all of this together, but it is Wednesday night and we are live. Welcome everybody back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm WatchUK99. Thank you as always for joining me, and it is the highlight of my week, the highlight of the channel, to do the Wednesday night live extravaganza with my Wicker pickers, Wicker clickers. All kinds of names that we got for you, but I appreciate everybody being here. I know that we're going to have more coming in as the night goes on. We might be talking about a certain football team that wears green. Part of me just feels like I want to put that off as long as possible. I already have put some thoughts out on the Joe Douglas firing. We're going to talk about it more tonight, but definitely check that video out. About 15 minutes of me promising myself I wouldn't yell and slowly working myself up into just being completely ticked off. All right, so we're going to get into all that good stuff tonight. Obviously, no game preview with the Jets on the bye week. Praise Jesus. But we will still do our trivia. We get enough likes. We get those 15 likes. You know what we do? We spin the wheel, and you never know what's going to happen when we spin that crazy wheel in Jets history. All right, well, we're going to get into the chat and everything else. But first of all, let's talk about what's on my mind. I want to get all this stuff out of the way real quick with a little bit of what we like to call 3 and out. First thing I'm going to talk about, believe it or not, I want to talk about a team that actually won. U.S. Soccer, yes! U.S. Soccer beat Jamaica 5-2 over 2 games in an aggregate, scored 4 goals in St. Louis on Monday night. They advanced to the CONCACAF Nations League semifinals in March. I don't get soccer sometimes. I mean, you have this quarterfinal win, you beat Jamaica 2 straight games, and now you got to wait 4 months until you play the semifinals against whoever else it's got to be. But I will say this, the new coach, Pochettino, I really like what I'm seeing. I really, really do. 8 months ago, Jamaica pushed the U.S. soccer team to the limit. The U.S. had to use extra time to beat them. The U.S. basically whooped them up over these 2 games. Creativity on offense, passes on target. The offense looks so much better than it did under Greg Berhalter, the previous coach. So that's good. On to the New York Giants, number 2. Daniel Jones demoted to 3rd-string quarterback, and you will not see him again. There is a better chance, I think, you see Tyron Smith play for the Jets. There is a better chance you see Malachi Corley, a starting wide receiver for the Jets this year, than you see Daniel Jones again. Now, here's the reason I'm saying that. So Jones signed a 4-year, $160 million extension after 2022. Great timing by him. The Giants just had that playoff victory in Minnesota, and it included a $23 million injury guarantee. Here's the deal. If Jones gets hurt this year and he can't pass a physical by March, so basically 5 months away, 4 to 5 months away, the Giants' dead salary cap charge for releasing him goes up from $22 million to $45 million. They don't want to run any risk of him getting hurt. So you know what? The players can be upset all they want. If they choose to be, you know what? It's smart business by the Giants to not play Daniel Jones in a season that is completely lost. But I think Jones still has more to do in the NFL. I don't think the book is closed on him just yet. I could see him being a backup for at least 5 years. So, hey, it's Tommy DeVito Sunday against Tampa Bay. And then Thanksgiving, it's going to be Tommy DeVito against Cooper Rush. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I think I might go volunteering that afternoon. Yeah, I got to do something else besides watching that game because that's going to be ugly. All right, and then a little bit on hockey. I want to talk a little bit about the Islanders and the Rangers. Both New York teams were in Western Canada last night, Tuesday night specifically. Islanders lose to the Flames in a shootout. You know, the Isles have played 19 games this year. You know, they've lost 5 either in overtime or in a shootout. This is the same issue as they were dealing with last season when they lost all those games in extra time. And Calgary, this is what makes it worse if you're an Islander fan. Calgary going into this game had the league's 30th ranked power play, 2 for their last 37. That stinks. Their one power play they get in this game, they scored to tie the game in the third period. Not a good job. Now the Islanders go to Detroit. And as far as the Rangers go, well, great 4-3 win in Vancouver. Chris Kreider with the game-winning goal. And Filipino, we thought it might be a concussion. Looks like he might have dodged that. So Thursday when the Rangers go to Calgary, he might be able to play. And the Rangers and Islanders, interestingly, are 4th and 5th in the Metro Division standings right now. The difference is the Rangers are 6 points up and have played 2 fewer games than the Islanders have. As far as the Devils go, they host Carolina Thursday night. That's going to be a very, very good game to watch. If that game was in Raleigh, I might even go to that one. All right, let's get that out of the way because I know you don't want to hear me talk about all that other stuff, but a few things had to be addressed. Let's get into the chat, why don't we? Well, I want to. What's on your minds? Let's see who's here. We've already got double digits here. I love it. I love it. I know we've got New Jersey. I know we got Florida. I know we got Arkansas. I'm hoping we got Virginia as well. A couple other states. You never know. A couple other Commonwealths. You never know. We might even go international tonight. You never know. Dane, yes, hit the like. Hit that thumbs up. That's right. If you love sports, if you love crazy content, and if you love America, if you love puppies, if you like steak, hit the like button. Tony, a happy week in Jetsville with no losses except JD. This is anything but a happy week, my man. Anything but a happy week. Dano, liked on both accounts, 34 subs away. I know. You know what? I'll tell you what makes the difference. I put out a short video, a 1-minute video, once Douglas was let go, and right away, it's like I got another 5 subscriptions. So, hey, you know, whatever gets it out there, that's the whole thing is the promotion. That's what makes this so crazy. Wild Wave, what's up, my man? Wild Wave got here early tonight. I love it. Glad that you're here. And, of course, the great Harlan Abraham. He wasn't first tonight, but he is here on time. That's right. Harlan, guys like Harlan and Dane have kind of taken over as the forerunners, you know. Jets Mess was always pretty much the first one here, but we haven't seen him in a minute. Hope he's doing well. David D likes America steaks and puppies, and not necessarily in that order, I hear. All right. Glad you're here as well. Okay. We got to get into, we do this every week. Just certain things got to get done. We got to recap this freaking game against the Colts. Yeah, let's blow this up a little bit. Yeah, I think that's a still that pretty much sums it up, doesn't it? And we got to be fair. The Jets did do some things well in this game. They did a very good job on Jonathan Taylor. They held him to 2.4 yards per carry. If I told you, all right, what if I'm going to be like an ESPN 30 for 30? What if I told you that in this game, the New York Jets would hold Jonathan Taylor to 2.4 yards per carry, take only 2 penalties? Breece Hall would score 2 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers would complete 22 of 29 passes for 2 touchdowns. And the 4th kicker in 4 weeks would make a 58-yard field goal and another 35-yard field goal to go ahead. Would you not bet that the Jets would have won that game? Oh, my God. And instead they lose 28-27 in a game. Again, they had no business losing, but it still came down to the same things. Defense, coaching. That's the easy place to put it. But again, the offense, no first downs until a minute and a half left in the first half. The offense, this is amazing to me. The offense has not scored a single touchdown on an opening drive this year. And I think that I'm trying to remember who I got the stat from. I think it was Brandon Tierney who gave the stat, I think. In Green Bay, when Aaron Rodgers played in Green Bay, 241 games, Rodgers one time went 4 straight drives with no first downs. Okay, 241 games, 4 drives, no first downs. That happened once. He's played 11 games with the Jets. We've had 3 games like that. 3. The Jet curse is real. And then this freaking defense, man, they just find new and inventive ways to lose games. They got 2 sacks on Anthony Richardson. I thought they should have gotten more on him, to be honest with you. 5 quarterback hits, 3 by Quinnen Williams against an offensive line that we told you was starting 3 rookies. Bernard Raymond is nowhere to be found. Ryan Kelly, nowhere to be found. You got guys coming out of the stands. Tanner Bortolini. I think I used to eat at his Italian restaurant when I was still living in New Jersey. Oh, my gosh. And the other thing, we told you, when I mentioned the 5 things to know about Indianapolis. If you were here last week, I told you the Colts had the lowest time of possession per game by an offense, under 26 minutes per game. Going into halftime, they had the ball for over 19 minutes. That was on pace for 38 minutes. And they finished with 34-17, so the point remains the same. This defense, the step back is unbelievable since Robertsaleh was gone. They were allowing 17 points per game in 5 games under Saleh. They're allowing almost 27 points per game since he was fired. That's right, Harlan. He'd have him going on the first drive, and that would be it. It would be like, watch the first drive, and then there's nothing else to watch the rest of the game. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Tony, good coaching 4th and 1, giving the ball to Conklin on a 4th down handoff instead of Braylon Allen, our power back. When you get too cute, this is what happens. That's what happens. Why not in that situation go like Brees in the halfback position and Allen in the fullback position? Then you have a little more creativity to do some things. And hey, you know what? The way the tight ends are looking, I didn't give him the ball to Kenny Yeboah. Kenny Yeboah, his first touchdown. Green Bean was happy. I was thrilled because people knew in the Virginia Jets fans group when I was there that I was ringing the bell for Kenny Yeboah too. So he got his touchdown in. So that was good, which, by the way, takes him past, I believe, Denzel Mims in career touchdowns. Just thought I'd point that out. I remember Damian Woody at halftime said, I'm not watching the game. Give me a 1-word description of this game. You know what? You know the word that I used to describe it? Typical. Typical. That's what this was. 13 likes. I love it. Man, we have to do the wheel a couple times. Jets defense made Richardson a superstar. I'm not going that far yet, Tony. It was the Jets after all. All right? Now, you don't become a superstar in one game. You might have some people giving you some oohs and ahs, but Richardson has a long way to go. Hey, Colts got a pretty good challenge coming up this week. Let's see him do that against the Lions. All right? Let's see him out-duel Jared Goff. I don't care if the game is at Lucas Oil Stadium. Let's see if he can beat Detroit. I'll be impressed if that happens. I'm not impressed by him beating the garbage Jets. Are you? No, I'm not. All right, let's get into the snap counts. We do this every single week. So compared to last week, Jets had 51 snaps on offense. That's down 7 from the previous week. Aaron Rodgers, of course, played all 51 snaps. Breece Hall played 43, down 4 snaps. Braylon Allen played 9. That was down 5. So you had 1 snap where you had both running backs on the field. Isaiah Davis basically still in the witness protection program. Wide receiver Garrett Wilson played the whole game. Devontae Adams missed 3 snaps in this game. Xavier Gibson got 27 up 3. Malachi Corley took a bit of a hit, 12 snaps down 4. I barely noticed him in the game. Maybe you did. I didn't. And Herb Charles did not get on the field on offense, down 5 snaps from the previous game against Arizona. Tight end. Okay, this one is interesting. Tyler Conklin, 47. By the way, after the snap counts, I got a new stat thing for you too, so you want to check that out. Tyler Conklin, 47 snaps, up 2, played almost the whole game. Jeremy Ruckert saw a dip in his time. Kenny Yeboah, only 3 snaps, but one of them was a touchdown. So I guess that's making the most out of your opportunity, right? And as far as the offensive line goes, Joe Tippmann, Morgan Moses, Elijah Vera Tucker, Olu Fashanu played 51 snaps. John Simpson missed just the 1 snap. Max Mitchell came in to relieve him in that spot. Harlan, let's check the chat. Jets got to get more defensive linemen and offensive linemen come the draft. Well, pretty much every organization does. I do feel pretty good with this offensive line, though. I mean, Simpson's here another year, unless they choose to cut him and save money. But you got Fashanu, Tippmann, AVT, the fifth-year option, and they can keep Moses if they want to. Offensive line, I'm not too worried about. It could stand to do a little bit better with the run blocking. That is a concern. Okay, they got to be a little bit better at the run blocking. I think that'll help as Fashanu gets more experience, and Morgan Moses hopefully is healthy next season. But I feel okay with the offensive line. If you want to draft somebody as like a backup, somebody to develop, I'm good with that. But I don't think this is a bad offensive line. I think it's much better from where it was last season. You know, it's a lot better that Tyron Smith isn't playing, right? So I got some hopes there. But yeah, defensive line, yeah, definitely needs some help, especially on the interior. You need a run stuffer, and you don't have to use a premium pick or premium salary cap space to do that. That has been one thing we have really, really missed ever since we lost Al Woods, really. We haven't had a run stopper. You know, last year, here's the thing with the run defense. Last year, the Jets' running defense looked bad because they knew they couldn't throw on the Jets. Plus, the other team was ahead. They would just run. It was death by 1,000 paper cuts. But you didn't see the huge gains as much as you do. So the total yards looked bad, but the yards per carry was bad. This year, everything looks like garbage. That's what's frustrating to me. We lost because of Wild Wave. Yeah. I think it was Zaylon, actually. So far, Fashanu has a higher run block rating than pass blocker. Hey, that's encouraging. I'm good with that. I definitely think that was another good draft pick made by our now former general manager. Not that I'm bitter. But, yeah, we're getting there. Defense, well, how about that? Well, defense spent a lot more time on the field. 70 snaps, up 11 from the previous week. Quinn Williams and Will McDonald both had a team-high 52 snaps. Took big jumps. Will McDonald got a lot more time. Went from 32 snaps to 52. So his snap percentage skyrocketed. Javon Kinlaw went up a little bit, 47 snaps. Michael Clemens, the same thing. Hassan Reddick, 26 snaps, not a whole lot at all. Yeah, Reddick did not have a big role in this game. Eric Watts played 21 snaps. Solomon Thomas, 19 after missing the previous week. Bruce Hector, the now released Bruce Hector, got his one game on the roster, 17 snaps. Leonard Taylor, and I'm going to come back. You know what? I was going to come back to this, but I'm just going to say it right now. Leonard Taylor played only 10 snaps, down 12 from the previous week. If you look at the highest graded Jet, now I know Pro Football Focus, the PFF ratings, they're a little, you don't always give them, all the, how do you say it, credit in the world. They can be a little bit fishy, all right? But if you go by that, you know who the highest graded Jet was this past week? Leonard Taylor. He had a 91.1 rating. Kenny Yeboah, number 2, 88.7. So our top 2 rated players played 10 snaps and 3 snaps respectively. After that, the rest of the top 5 was Quinnen, John Simpson, and Javon Kinlaw. If you want, as for the lowest rated Jets, we'll get to them in just a moment. Bray McGregor did not play, down 11 snaps. But it's amazing that Leonard Taylor was ranked so high, and yet he only played 10 freaking snaps. So, yep, that's right, Tony. Yeah, Bruce Hector was released so that Andros Carlson could be signed. So I'm good with that. Linebackers, Quincy Williams played the whole game, as he typically does. Jamian Sherwood missed the 1 snap. Sam Egwavoen went down 29 snaps from 38 to 9. And Marcelino McCrary Ball actually got into a game again, got 1 whole snap. As far as the secondary goes, the great Sauce Gardner, he's been just terrific. The great Sauce Gardner, 69 snaps. DJ Reed, 69 snaps. Isaiah Oliver, who's playing corner this week, got more time than Michael Carter. 30 snaps for him. Michael Carter, 26. So last week, Jets were using a lot more of a 3 linebacker formation. This week, they were trying to take away the pass. They were playing more cornerbacks, which is interesting considering how bad they were on pass defense and how good they were against the run. Very interesting. Jalen Mills played the whole game at 70 snaps, and he was the lowest graded Jet by PFF, just a 38 rating. Jamian Sherwood actually was a 42. He was the second lowest Jet. The third lowest Jet was Ty Conklin at a 44.1. But yeah, Jalen Mills is, gave him a lot of credit over the last couple of weeks. I thought his tackling was not good in this game at all. I thought he had very much a down game. Chuck Clark played 69 snaps, played all but one snap as he returned from an injury. Good to have him back. And Ashton Davis played 3 snaps, his first defensive snaps in a couple of weeks. Tony Adams was benched. More on that later. All right, let's get that out. Let's get that out of there. Tony, Leonard Taylor is much better than Kinlaw. His upside's much higher, I'll tell you that. Leonard Taylor could use a little bit of polishing, but yeah, I want to see him get the second most snaps at defensive tackle the rest of the way. Why not at this point? Swig of water for the working man and woman. And if anybody is wondering, no, there is no cayenne pepper this week, and I don't think there is ever going to be again. Okay. Now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes. I know that I said I was going to talk about I was going to rank my head coach candidates, and I will still do that if we have time. We'll just kind of see how this goes. But I got a few things to say. Chat, you got some things to say. If you've got questions, you've got thoughts, put them down there in the chat. All right. So the Jets news, what we got to talk about, Joe Douglas, and it hurts my heart to do this. It hurts my heart. You know what? I gotta put the background in. Let's switch the background up a little bit. Brand new Jets background. There it is. So now we got a full green going on. And notice right next to me, this logo. That's right. The previous regime's logo, because that's pretty much what we're worth right now. Okay. You guys know I've been a Joe Douglas defender. I have supported him amongst all criticism from Jet fans, but just like JD, you know what? You had to know his time was coming. And as of about noon yesterday, it hurts me to play that more than I've ever had to play that soundbite before. It really, really does. Now, most of you at this point have read or at least are aware of the article that came out by The Athletic late last night with Zach Rosenblatt and Diana Rossini. I know there's some certain people on Jets Twitter that I'm not going to name who would have you believe this is a hit piece. They're just looking. It's like, why is this coming out now? What is the deal with it? Oh boy. Yeah. I think that was for I don't know if that was for The Athletic or for the Joe Douglas dismissal. It was for one of the two. But I want to go through the article, but I'm going to do this a little bit differently than how some of the other guys have done it. I want to go through it not in article order, but sequential order. Okay. I want to go basically by sort of create a little bit of a timeline and see kind of how Woody Johnson has usurped his authority and absolutely, I'm going to use this word a couple of times tonight, neutered Joe Douglas. Or as Mike Francesa would say, he neutered him. Okay. He neutered him. So let's talk about this. So Joe Douglas had lost some power, and I'm reading this from the article. Joe Douglas had already lost some power midway through last season when Johnson took a more active role. Example, Joe Douglas had a contract extension offer he was getting ready to propose to defensive end Bryce Huff's agent, but Johnson vetoed that. And here's the key. Here's number 2. And any other moves involving paying new money to players on the roster. I have heard a lot of people, a lot of content creators, a lot of beat writers say, why doesn't Joe Douglas pay his own players? We finally saw an exception to that with Michael Carter II when he signed him. Okay. But now we're starting to see Woody mandated you're not going to pay money to players on the team. Why? What is Woody Johnson thinking? Does he feel like you have to make the playoffs in order to pay your best players? It just makes no sense. And people have been killing Joe Douglas for the defensive line, for trading JFM, which has turned out to be a terrible decision. Letting Bryce Huff go. I didn't have as much of a problem with that. But now we see Joe Douglas wanted to keep Bryce Huff. He did. Woody Johnson said no. And you know what? If the Jets keep Bryce Huff, maybe they don't go out and make the trade for Hassan Reddick. And the Jets, remember, only felt they had to trade John Franklin Myers because Hassan Reddick was going to be on this roster and he was going to take up too much of the salary cap. Maybe if Woody Johnson stays in his office and just focuses on his freaking Q-tips, and you know we can shove one of those Q-tips, Woody Johnson, you might still have Huff and JFM on this roster right now. You might. Huff might be gone because of Will McDonald. It's very fair, but I got a very strong feeling JFM would not be gone, and the Jets would be a much better team against the run. And oh gosh, and I'm only on point number 2. I got 10 of these. Gosh dang. So then, by January, getting back to the article, by January, Douglas seemed to have even less control. That's when he fired assistant general manager Rex Hogan, a move that shocked many in the organization because of how close Douglas and Hogan and their families were. Yeah, we're in the past tense. Yes. Multiple team sources theorized, so this is what they're imagining, like reasonable conclusion, that Johnson forced Douglas's hand. In the aftermath, Douglas told Jets staffers, Woody should just fire me now. He knew months ago. Especially if this team didn't perform. And then February, director of player personnel Chad Alexander left for an assistant GM job with the Chargers, and Johnson didn't allow Douglas to replace either of them. From then on, many in the Jets organization described Douglas as a shell of himself. This is all from the article. The team source said they're holding him hostage. Another former Jets front office member said Joe was checked out because this freaking owner had to meddle and screw everything up. Let's check in with the chat real quick and see what they're saying. Harlan, despite the team's record, did a good job. The talent level was raised since he got here. He got players via draft claim after being cut by another team and trade. Yeah. Do you remember a couple months ago when we did the roster breakdown, when I broke down the ESPN roster rankings and we talked about where the roster was ranked overall? The Jets were ranked second in the NFL, only behind San Francisco, going into this year with this roster. When Joe Douglas started, they were 31st. That's a dramatic increase. Like, we went from the worst cornerbacks to the best cornerbacks in the NFL. It's just so frustrating. And I can understand Woody Johnson getting desperate. I can understand that because he knows how long it's been since his team was a respectable team, since it was a playoff team, since the Jets were taking over New York City and the New York metropolitan area, when people put on Jets logos and were actually proud. The only time we get that is during the offseason at this point. JD hiring Saleh is why the Jets have a losing record. There's many reasons, Tony. Saleh did not turn out to be the right hire, but it made sense. Even the moves Joe Douglas made that didn't work out made sense at the time. There were people who said Laken Tomlinson made the most sense of any free agent in that whole free agent cycle. Jets got him, and he was an absolute bust, never to be heard from again. It looks like he was a success because he played next to the best left tackle in football in San Francisco, that being Trent Williams. It made sense. The trade for Aaron Rodgers, we can talk about it. It made sense. Sometimes you just can't predict this stuff, you know? Man, oh man. Woody on the QT, that is a good one. Mm-hmm. I know. Hey, Sharon, how you doing? Hope you're having a good night, my friend. Wild Wave would have let JD pick another head coach. I would have too. It's been 5 years, a little over 5 years. I feel almost like, as much as I didn't want him to go, I knew he was going to go. I was basically resigned to it. I feel about Joe Douglas the same exact way I did about Rex Ryan when he left. I've never seen anybody do that job better. No one. Joe Douglas is the best GM I've seen with the Jets, and Rex Ryan is the best head coach I've seen with the Jets. And I go back to about the late 80s. Sorry, Bill Parcells did a lot right, but he did a heck of a lot wrong too. Okay? And especially if you look at Bill Parcells' time as a general manager. Do I need to bring up the draft bust he had? Dorian Boose, anybody? Just as an example, Mike Tannenbaum, he had bust after bust after bust. This is the same Mike Tannenbaum, by the way, who said he would trade Jahmyr Gibbs, 3 first-rounders, and I think some other defensive player to Cleveland to get Myles Garrett on the Lions. Mike Tannenbaum would be fine with a 2 to 3 pick draft if it meant he got his guys. And sometimes that worked, like with Darrelle Revis and David Harris, and sometimes it failed completely. Jacob Bender, anybody? How long has it been since you heard Jacob Bender mentioned on a Jets show? He was an offensive lineman for those keeping score. So that's how I feel. They had varying levels of success. Mistakes were made. But at the end of the day, you knew that change was going to come. And I was resigned to it. I was absolutely resigned to it. When we found out that it was Woody Johnson who made the decision to kick Robert Saleh to the curb, when we found that out, I realized Joe Douglas has no authority left. None. And this is the same freaking owner who at the beginning of the season said, and I'm going to get to this quote in a little bit too, it's the best roster I've had in 25 years of owning this team. More on that later too. Yeah, he got impatient with the rebuild, but you know what? It was working. When you bring everybody in after 4 games, you know you have issues. Okay, killing the trade for Jerry Jeudy. So last offseason, going back to the Athletic article, both Saleh and Douglas agreed they needed to focus on rectifying some past mistakes they made in free agency. Specifically, they wanted to avoid aging players or ones with injury concerns. And you can absolutely see that in both the draft and free agency when they got Fashanu, Allen, Corley, tough guys who are durable. It made sense. So Douglas pursued a trade with the Denver Broncos to bring in Jerry Jeudy. He offered Allen Lazard and a day 2 draft pick. Johnson nixed the idea. Jeudy instead went to Cleveland, where, let's be honest, Jerry Jeudy has not exactly been CeeDee Lamb. Okay, Jeudy is an okay receiver, but he's not a number 1 receiver on his team. But if you paired him up with Garrett Wilson, hey, maybe that would work. I don't know if I would have done that trade, though, to be honest with you, just because Allen Lazard is incredibly flammable, okay? He's a combustible receiver. He catches touchdowns, but he has absolutely ridiculous drops and penalties that will make you want to wring his neck. By the way, let's see when we see Lazard back in the lineup again. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. Why rush him back? I would be surprised if Allen Lazard has played his last game as a New York Jet. I could easily see that and him getting cut after this season. And then we go into the offseason again. So Tyron Smith and Mike Williams, they lingered. They remained on the block after the first initial wave of free agent signings. The Jets pursued both, and multiple team sources believe, again quoting, multiple team sources believe this was a matter of Johnson's preoccupation with social media factoring into the Jets' decision-making. Douglas went along. Every time I see one of these just nut jobs on social media, and I'm guilty at times, I admit it. I can let my opinions flow on Twitter if you've never noticed before, or X, whatever you want to call. I'm actually starting to call it X now just because it's aggravating so many people. You know, just the idea of X is just offending people. So now I think I'm going to start calling it X. But I see some of the opinions on there, and now it's at the point where I'm thinking, is Woody Johnson and staff, are they seeing this? Are they seeing this? So Douglas goes along, and they sign both players, neither of whom worked out. Smith was hurt. He has been the worst offensive lineman on this team. Mike Williams just never developed a connection with Aaron Rodgers. Just didn't happen. It doesn't make sense why it didn't happen. For 1 year, $10 million, I feel like it was a risk worth taking. It didn't work out. They get a 5th-round pick for it. Great. All right, let's flip over to the second slide here. So then the coaches get called in. So this is after game 4 when the Jets are 2-2. The coaches get called into a meeting. Not just Robert Saleh, but Hackett, Ulbrich, Brant Boyer. They're all there. And in the meeting, you've got Woody, JD, Jaime and Ira. Jaime, the team president, and Ira Axelrod, who's an advisor to Woody Johnson. They're there because God knows they know a lot about football. It's like when the Houston Texans had a pastor making their decisions, for them up until they just turned it out, just completely turned it around. That's basically what we're talking about here. And during the meeting, and this is the part that's making the headlines, although in my mind it shouldn't be, but it always will because it's the quarterback. Johnson suggests they bench Aaron Rodgers after 4 games in favor of Tyrod Taylor because he felt Rodgers was holding the team back. Obviously, everybody else who wasn't Woody Johnson or a Woody Johnson sycophant, which is a nice way of saying an ass kisser, they think that he is absolutely out of his mind, and they were able to nix that. And Aaron Rodgers would have been completely embarrassed. The locker room would have been thrown into complete disarray. It's just ridiculous. So Johnson, he gets calm that day, but then that meeting kind of sets the tone for what happens 1 week later after they lose in London, which, as we all know, matters because Woody cares about those London games. And that loss then leads to him making the decision to fire Robert Saleh without consulting Joe Douglas or anyone else in the entire organization. And we've talked about that. And at that point, we know the defense, as we talked about tonight, it never recovered. The morale of the team never recovered. Joe Douglas's pride never recovered. Not that Robert Saleh was a great coach, but you know what? Woody Johnson turned him into a martyr. Woody Johnson has actually turned Aaron Rodgers into a martyr. Even the biggest Aaron Rodgers haters out there, they almost feel for him now. Almost. I said almost. It's like, really? You would bench him after 4 games? Certain people on ESPN radio? Certain hosts on that particular channel? They're actually almost feeling bad for Aaron Rodgers. That is an accomplishment. So, bravo, Woody Johnson. You somehow pulled that off. And here's the other thing with Hassan Reddick. Initially, Woody Johnson did not want to give Hassan Reddick a new deal. Joe Douglas, we found out, made the trade for Reddick, even though he was told he wanted a new contract. JD figured the contract would take care of itself. But then Woody Johnson did not want to give Reddick a new contract. But then as the season completely deteriorates, Johnson then makes sure that Reddick gets signed. So Woody does a complete 180 on Reddick. He also made sure the Devontae Adams trade went through, even though that meant giving up more capital than what other teams were trading at the time to get a top wide receiver. A conditional third, which will, thank God, will only be a third. And it's going to be a pretty good third at that now. And then we come to Sunday. This past Sunday against Indianapolis, he suggested Tony Adams be benched for the Indianapolis game. As you saw on the snap counts, Tony Adams got as many snaps as we all did, you and I all did. And Woody Johnson wanted the Jets to practice during their bye week. That didn't go very well with the leaders in the locker room. I can imagine who those leaders would be. Number 8 and number 57 in particular. Because outside of that, who are the real leaders on this team at this point? Sherry McLean, Steve Cohen needs to buy the Jets. Hey, you know what? We know it's not going to happen. Steve Cohen, I think he has actually said, this is my one. This is my one, and that is it. So I'm just thankful I got him owning one of my teams. Yeah. Rodgers has a worse record than Zach. JD's second round pick. Let's be honest. Zach Wilson was playing with a much better defense than Aaron Rodgers was. Hell, Aaron Rodgers has the same level of defense now that he did for a lot of those years in Green Bay. You know, people who were knocking Aaron Rodgers for those playoff losses, his defense was averaging over 30 points allowed in all those losses. Aaron Rodgers can't tackle for these guys. He can't stop the run for these guys. You know, he can't be defending the pass on multiple last-minute drives when other teams are going down the field. Think about it. Anthony Richardson goes down the field twice, a 3-minute drive and a 2-minute drive, 70 yards each freaking time to win the game, to steal that game from the Jets. Woody is a great owner, Dane says. Just look at the profit margins. Yeah. Oh, boy, oh, boy. And then if it wasn't, like we said, and this is the other part of the article I want to get to. This is the last part of the article. This is what scares me the most. And I'm gonna quote this. This is a paragraph, so give me a little patience. If it wasn't obvious how involved Johnson was in the operation before the season started, it became clearer in October when Saleh was fired. Johnson explained he felt the Jets had the most talented roster the franchise had assembled in his 25 years as owner. Yeah, we mentioned that. He wanted to find a spark before it was too late. He promoted Ulbrich to interim head coach. The line about the roster talent was presumably an endorsement of the work Douglas had done over the past few years, but multiple sources within the organization viewed it as more of an endorsement of the roster that Johnson felt that he had built. So Johnson feels like this is him. So he's basically sucking up some credit for something he has nothing to do with. Guys, I said this on Twitter. I've said this in Jake's chat. I said it in one or two other videos as well. There are few things in the world more dangerous than an idiot who thinks he's a genius. That is Woody Johnson right now. Woody Johnson actually thinks he's smart, but he actually thinks he's smart. That's why it was impossible. And that's why the headline of this article, why Joe Douglas never stood a chance as GM. Some people think that that's a little bit over the top. It's not over the top. Joe Douglas was not allowed to do his job, and that's just what we know happened in the last 18 months. I'm going to use the word again. He was neutered by Woody Johnson. You remember the GM that we watched on NYJets Drive in the draft room? The chair spins. The one who Robert Saleh leapt into his arms after a big win. They cut his balls off. We know what happened. And spare me with the hit piece, please. Don't give me the narrative that Diana Rossini has it out for the Jets because she's a liberal. Stop. It's not. You cannot make up that many stories that we just went through and not have your credibility absolutely ruined, because all of those lies, apparent lies, would come out before very long. They'd be exposed within days the way it is now. So I don't want to hear that this is about politics, that there's a hit piece to knock Woody Johnson before he goes to England. And I'm going to come back to this again. I said it last night on that video. You could, for those who are knocking Joe Douglas picking Zach Wilson, what was the alternative plan in that draft? What was it? Trey Lance? Mac Jones? Justin Fields? None of whom are with their original teams either. Yeah, Justin Fields could run a little bit better, but he was benched for a reason too. He can't read a defense. That quarterback class sucked. After that, Davis Mills, Kyle Trask, that will go down as one of the worst quarterback classes of all time. Unfortunately, Joe Douglas was just there for it. It's just the timing of it. It sucked. Should he have kept Sam Darnold? You know what? You were going to have to pay Sam Darnold some money. You were going to have to. Darnold was not going to take a one-year deal to stay here. And they traded him and got a nice little return back for him. And Sam Darnold, I'm going to say this, he was nothing until this season. Sam Darnold had to go to quarterback rehab, otherwise known as the San Francisco 49ers, for him to do what he's doing now with the Vikings. And God bless him for it. But it was never, ever going to happen as long as he stayed, because this organization has proven again and again they don't know how to develop a quarterback. You think Lamar Jackson? You think if the Jets drafted Lamar Jackson way back when instead of the Ravens, do you think he would have developed into a multiple-time MVP like he is with the Ravens? No, because the Ravens know what they're doing as an organization. They knew how to tailor the offense to fit Lamar Jackson's skill set. The Jets tried to do that with Aaron Rodgers, but they signed up a bunch of guys who sucked when he wasn't around. Billy Turner, Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, and there's probably, and they brought in Nathaniel Hackett. Water's not going to be enough to get me through this freaking show tonight, guys. I'm going to tell you right now. Man alive. Dano, he developed Quincy Williams, yeah. He did that. He said, I like this guy, Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff would be a great signing. Yeah, you might want to do that. DJ Reed, he's really been overlooked. I know Coach Saleh hated him, but I think we're going to show Robert Saleh up. So I think we should sign DJ Reed. I think we should do that. Good Lord. Good Lord. Just checking the shadow class. How does Woody? I'm ashamed to tell you, I ate at a bar a week and a half ago named Woody's and had some wings. Very good. Now I feel dirty that I went into a place called Woody's. They were great sliders, 350 Budweisers, but I feel dirty that I went to a Woody's. Man, oh man. He's not bench Clemens or Zerline if he's using the eye test or Jets Twitter. Yeah, it's fair. I don't know why Michael Clemens gets all this time. I don't losing Jermaine Johnson. I think we knew right there the defensive line was not going to be the same. Even with Hassan Reddick, the idea was Clemens would grow into that JFM role, and it didn't happen. I wasn't surprised that Zerline stayed longer because, again, they gave him a 2-year contract, which, again, every Jet fan was screaming for Joe Douglas to do. We were. Let's be honest. We did. He signed him. And, maybe he is hurt. Maybe he actually is injured, or maybe it's mental. We may never know. Maybe it's physical and mental. But, yeah, he absolutely cost them games. There's no question about it. You still got to think, though, there's certain spots if the offense is clicking, if it's doing right, the games don't come down to those kicks anyway. Yeah, I'm not absolving Greg Zerline from blame by any stretch, but certainly a football game is not won or lost on one play. That's all I'm trying to say. So, because I know he watches this show every week. President-elect Donald Trump, please give Woody Johnson a job now. Get him out of. I don't care what it is. He doesn't even have to be ambassador to the UK anymore. Make him Secretary of Q-Tips. Okay. Secretary of Q-Tips, make him that. I'd say make him Secretary of Baby Lotion, but I think Robert Kraft already has that position down. You know what I mean? And you tell me how to replace him. You tell me how to replace Joe Douglas right now. Like who? The funny thing, while Wade, he mentions Nathaniel Hackett. Has anybody ever seen Nathaniel Hackett? I think he's just getting the coffee for Aaron Rodgers. He's getting the towel. He's getting the ayahuasca. He's making sure the dark room is dark enough. But again, I'm pretty much convinced Aaron Rodgers is still hurt. I think, Boomer Esiason said himself this morning, it's probably a left hamstring or a left calf. I don't think he's ever really been healthy because you can't tell me that Aaron Rodgers, as competitive as he is, would attempt only one pass over 10 yards in a whole game if he was healthy. He'd be taking chances. I have no doubt about it. Instead, we're looking at basically a prototypical West Coast quarterback right now. This isn't Aaron Rodgers in my mind. I don't agree with the Jet fan who said you absolutely have to start over because I don't know what the alternative is. I really don't know. The one thing with it, though, is that now that you have a new GM and head coach coming, you have to get the best ones possible. And if their requirement is, I can't have Aaron Rodgers as my quarterback going forward, then he has to go. That's my thought. But I think Rodgers will still absolutely try to play again if there's a team that is willing to use him. But I think Rodgers' ego is too big for him to be a backup. And I think he would only go to only a couple of different teams. So I'm just dreading the idea of a $49 million dead cap hit if you cut him. Now, one thing with the Rodgers cut situation, if the Jets make Rodgers a post-June 1st cut, they could split the $49 million over 2 years. So it's like, do you want to take the $49 million over 1 year, or is it? I want to say it's 13. I think it's 13 million 1 year and 36 the other. It's something like that. But then you also have future cap hits of 35 million, 21 million, 7 million. It would be actually be 14 million and 35 million is what it would be if they cut him post June 1st. And if that was it, I could deal with it for like 2 years. I can't deal with it for like 3-4 years down the line. We've suffered enough punting year after year after year after year. I don't want to punt anything anymore. I just can't bear to punt anymore. Unless you can get your dream GM and coach in here. And you tell me who that is. Guys, I want to see this from you, the chat. I really do. Do you have any general manager out there who the Jets could bring in realistically? And please don't tell me Bill Belichick, because he is never coming here. It would be, like I said on the show earlier, George Steinbrenner would have owned the Red Sox before Bill Belichick takes a job at any job with the New York Jets, unless it's director of sabotaging. You know, as big an asshole as Bill Belichick is, he was right. The Jets are the Jets, and Woody is Woody. And this article proves it. So these are the candidates I'm here. Ray Agnew in Detroit. That seems to be the number one guy. I'm seeing Andy Weidel in Pittsburgh, Ian Cunningham in Chicago, Mike Borgonzi in Kansas City. He comes to the Jets. He'll be Borgonzo in a couple of years. The other one I'm seeing is Ryan Grigson, the Colts GM. He's viewed as the top candidate according to U Stadium. Now, Grigson was once an NFL Executive of the Year. He's never had a losing season as GM. He played a big role in the Minnesota Vikings resurgence. And I'll tell you who he's a very close friend of, and that's Brian Flores. And Brian Flores is somebody I am very interested in bringing in as a head coach. So my attitude is, if to get Brian Flores, I got to bring in Ryan Grigson, I'd be like, okay, fine. But here's the thing. The real general manager of this team is the freaking owner. That's the general manager. You're only GM in title. You got a nice office. You got to do certain press conferences. Other than that, you're basically the yes man of Woody Johnson. You will do this, Woody Johnson. You will do this. This is what I want you to do. You will do this. Do you have enough Q-tips in your drawer there? Need any baby oil? Need any baby lotion? I got more for you. It just makes me sick. About the only way I could get excited is if we're Vince Lombardi were to come back from the dead. That's about it. That's about it. Oh, man. Guys. Wild Wave says, wait, Ray Agnew would excite him. We have a son, and that's our only saving grace. Yeah, it always helps when you have the right personnel. I don't know. I mean, to me, this was the general manager, in my opinion. I know it didn't work out, but he made more good quality moves than anybody else I've seen as Jets general manager. You know, I'm at peace with it. You know, I know he had to go, and Joe Douglas is probably thrilled to be out of there because, you know, Joe Douglas is too good to work for the likes of Woody Johnson. And that's my thing. This article comes out. Woody Johnson already has a bad enough reputation thanks to Bill Belichick bad-mouthing him and other people like that. This article comes out. What top candidate wants to be with the Jets? Who wants to work with the Johnson family? What's the appeal? You work in New York. It's one of 32 jobs. They'll pay you a lot of money. They have some young talent, although let's be real. That young talent, they're going to want to get the hell out of here before long. This offseason, somebody's going to demand a trade. Somebody, Brees, Garrett, JJ, Sauce, AVT, somebody's going to want out of here. Quincy, I'm scared. All this talent that we have now wasted for various reasons. It's not going to be easier to replace it. Wild Wave thinks Garrett is definitely out of here. We'll see. Just because he's a wide receiver. Garrett Wilson's not a diva, though. You know, I know wide receivers tend to be the position that demands the trades. I don't think Garrett Wilson is that guy. But he wants to win no matter what. So, no candidates in Baltimore, Philly, Chicago, Chargers going to come here. You think they appreciate their buddy getting stepped on? Could be right. Although, you know, Chad Alexander's with the Chargers. Maybe he would come back and take the job. Maybe. He's been here. I don't know if he wanted to be here or not, but you know what? He has the opportunity to get promoted. Maybe he would take it. But here's the thing. Who's doing the search? Is it Woody? Is it Christopher? Is it Jaime? Are we getting another search firm led by Charlie Casserly, who gave us with the immortal combination of Mike McCagnon and Todd Bowles? I have never been as pessimistic about the Jets as I am right now. And I don't think that is, I don't see any draft that would change that. I don't know of any free agent that would change that. I don't know if any trade that would change that. Nothing is going to change for me. There are a couple of coaches who I do like. Guys, just because of the GM thing, I think I'm going to wait on the head coach thing. I think I'm going to have to edit the title of this. I think we're going to save the coach candidates for next week. I think I gotta think it over just a little bit more, because I feel like there's more possibilities for potential candidates. The more that you hear about it, you can find new pros, new cons for each of these guys. I think I'm going to wait on this until next week. So yeah, so I'm gonna edit the title to just focus on that. Yeah, so we'll edit that a little bit. Yeah, I think I want to wait on that because I think I need something to make me smile. I think we all need something to make us smile. I see we got enough. I see we got enough likes for the wheel a little bit later, but I think we can do better, guys. Let's get. We got 16. Let's get it up to 20. How about some more? That's right. I'm going to be shameless about it. I don't care. Oh, let's see on Facebook. Kathleen Purchase sent me a friend request. I bet that's her real name. Just looking to see if there's any more news. Let's see. Tariq Skubal won the Cy Young Award in the American League from Detroit. Yeah, makes sense. So Seth Lugo finished second. Skubal got all 30 first place votes. Yeah, that makes sense. And Chris Sale from the Braves wins the Cy Young in the National League. Got 26 of 30 first place votes. All right, congratulations to both of them. Zach Wheeler finished second. So both ex-Mets finished second. Oh, we also have some news on a little baseball thing. Roki Sasaki, the young Japanese star pitcher, he is expected to sign with a major league club as part of 2025 international signing class. That means he would not sign until January 15th. All right. All right, guys. I'll tell you what we're gonna do. I think it's about that time in the week where I think we got to have a little bit of fun. So let's get that out of there. So yeah, this is a logo of failure, and we may as well just go back to that logo because that's what we are right now. An utter failure, and as long as this owner is in place, why should we believe it's going to change? Even if Chris comes in, Chris is a nicer guy, more jovial guy, but he's still basically spearheaded the Adam Gase hire. Said he is coaching football where it is going. Harlan's got to go eat. His dinner is ready. Happy eating, Harlan. Thanks for stopping by. All right, guys. I think it's time to move over. And it is about time for that particular time in the show. Oh, you know what? Oh, one more thing. I almost forgot. Take-a-thon. Yes. Take-a-thon. I got to give you a little bit of take-a-thon action real quick. All right, here's where we are real quick. Then we'll play trivia, okay? Hey, Johnny, how you doing, boy? Glad you're here. All right, we got Jacksonville at 2-9, the worst record in football, and their remaining strength of schedule, by the way, 32nd. They got the easiest strength of schedule. And their SOS right now, 492. Translation, you finish tied with Jacksonville, they're finishing ahead of you, okay? You got to have a better record than Jacksonville if you're going to finish ahead. Then you got a bunch of 2-8 teams in Tennessee, Cleveland, the Giants, and Vegas. And that strength of schedule, very, very close, from 514 to 525. Oh, and Tennessee, a very easy strength of schedule. Cleveland, a very tough one. Giants and the Raiders right in the middle. So that remaining strength of schedule, as we go through that over the next few weeks, you're going to note it's going to go really up and down. It's going to start really changing. Then at 3-8, you've got both the Patriots and the Jets. Patriots, a much easier strength of schedule, 472 compared to 511. But Patriots have the second hardest strength of schedule left. It is second hardest in the league at 635. The Jets are at 468, just 20 seconds. So not the easiest, but definitely on the right side of things. Maybe the Jets could catch the Patriots. We're going to have to see. Then after that, behind them, you've got 2, 3, and 7 teams in Carolina and Dallas. 486 and a 525 strength of schedule. Then 2, 4, and 7 teams in New Orleans and Cincinnati. Then Miami, Tampa, and Chicago are all 4 and 6. Notice the Bears have the hardest remaining strength of schedule. Tampa and Miami have some pretty easy strengths of schedule. So the Jets are 1 game ahead of Miami with 2 left to go, and Miami's got an easier strength of schedule. So got to keep that in mind. It's one of those things where you kind of want Miami to finish. You hope they end up with a better record than the Jets, you know. Not that I don't think Miami would go quarterback their first round, but the truth is, from what I hear with this quarterback class, I don't even know if I want to go quarterback first round. I might even take 1 year with Tyrod Taylor, Jordan Travis, and fill in the blank. I might for 1 year. Might have to do that. I don't want to take the wrong quarterback again and end up in purgatory for another 5 years. I don't want to do that. If that means you wait, you wait. That's my thought. All right, so that's kind of where this is. Now I'll give you a quick rooting guide for this week. So I got the 2-win teams, the 3-win teams, the 4-win teams, and other games that will help strength the schedule. So with 2-win teams, Pittsburgh at Cleveland, obviously rooting for Cleveland. So the number in parentheses is where they currently rank. Of course, the Jets are at 7 currently. You got Tampa at the Giants, so you got to root for the Giants. Tennessee, you want Tennessee to beat Houston. You want the Raiders to beat the Broncos. On the 3-win side, you've got New England at Miami. You got to root for New England pretty much every game at this point for the purpose of tanking, if that's what you're looking at. You're looking for Dallas over Washington. That's a long shot. Kansas City at Carolina. That's hysterical. 4-win teams, Minnesota at Chicago. Can the Bears beat the Vikings? I don't think it's impossible. If the Bears' offensive line can contain the Vikings' defense and give Caleb Williams some time to operate, I think the Bears could pull off an upset. I think it's a long shot. And the other one, you want the Chargers to beat the Ravens to help the strength of schedule against New England. So Chargers against Ravens. Don't forget that game too. All right. That's all right. So that's it for the content there. Let's do what we do every week. You know what happens. I head into my labyrinth of Jets knowledge. I bust open the books. I pull up the websites. I open up the Encyclopedia Britannica, and I, Y2K99, challenge you, the most loyal of the most loyal, godforsaken fan base in the NFL, the New York Jets fan base. How much do you know about your New York Jets? So if you are ready, let's play Jets Trivia. Okay, so where do we go this week? You know, I try to make these questions as topical as I can, but it gets a little bit, it's a little bit harder on the bye week. Where are we going to go with the bye week? Well, we could go anywhere. We could go way back in the past. We could go with the present team, but I think we've all been through enough already. So let's pull up the trivia slide. And remember the rules. You got 5 minutes. From the time that I put the question on the screen. Of course, do not look it up. And we are currently, I believe, at, I think the chat is 7-4 this season. Yep, 7 questions answered correctly and 4 incorrectly. So got to make it a little bit tough. Let's see where we go here. All right, your question tonight goes like this. Name the 2 Jets to score multiple punt return touchdowns in their Jets careers. Only 2 have done it. There's been a number of returners who have scored a lot of kickoff return touchdowns, but only 2 have scored multiple punt return touchdowns. Who are they? Chat, I'm gonna be looking to see what your answers are. I will tell you this: 11 have scored 1. Wild Wave goes with the great Leon Washington. Is it Leon Washington? It is not Leon Washington. He never did it. No. Dano goes with Brad Smith. Is it Brad? We will not lack on guesses here. Brad Smith. Is it Brad Smith? No, it is not Brad Smith. He was scoring kickoff return touchdowns. Chad Morton. How about Chad Morton? No. Bruce Harper. Is it Bruce Harper? Tony Alexio says. No. Antonio Cromartie. How about Cromartie? No. Number 5. Jimmy Leonard. How about I think you're guessing Jimmy. Yeah, Jim Leonard was a punt returner. Did Jim Leonard do it? No, he didn't. Johnny Boy says Bruce Harper. Yep, that was guessed. Dano says it is not Xavier Gibson. Damn right it wasn't Xavier Gibson. I don't think that's ever happening. Tony Alexio Butterfinger Barrios. Now he had one touchdown. I want to say that was a kickoff, but no, not correct. Johnny Boy goes with the great Joe McKnight. Well, the late Joe McKnight. Yes. Rest in power, Speedy Joe. It was not Joe McKnight, unfortunately. Not going to give that a buzzer. Well, that's 2 minutes down, and you've gotten nowhere so far. That's what she said. All right. And, guys, we will do a wheel. I want to thank you for your likes thus far. And, again, if you know anybody who might like the channel, please share it with them. You can always use that share link and send it over. Wild Wave goes with Santana Moss. How about Santana Moss? Yes, Santana Moss has done it. Santana Moss has 2 punt return touchdowns. John Hall. Yes, John Hall did it too. Sharon McLean going back into the 70s. I think Sharon might also have been a fan of the television show American Gladiators. She goes with Mike Adamle. And we sent our best to Mike Adamle, who is dealing with dementia issues. But no, it was not Mike Adamle. Also the worst general manager in the history of Monday Night Raw. He called Jeff Hardy, Jeff Harvey. He was one of the most awkward public speakers ever, which is amazing considering he was a news anchor for all those years. All right, Dano goes with Lavernius Coles. How about Lavernius Coles? No, it's not Lavernius Coles. Not Leon. No, Leon was the first one guessed, man. Wasn't him. Yet he goes with the king of the fair catch himself, Jeremy Curley. Jeremy Curley did have 1 punt return touchdown. He did not have 2. Johnny Boy going to his favorite, Quincy Carter. How about Quincy Carter? And before somebody says Lee Cravat, I'm using that freaking buzzer. Like I'm glad I'll pay copyrights on that freaking buzzer. It's going to work out tonight. All right, guys. Any other guesses at this point? You've got 1 minute and 10 seconds. No looking it up. Name the 2 Jets to score multiple punt return touchdowns in their Jet careers. They know this is boring. The king of midnight agrees. I know. Juan Soto, Pete Alonso. No, not quite. Lindor could probably, Soto could do it. Wild Wave goes before or after 2005? Before. It is before. I will give you that. David D goes Quincy and Nunwood. You're grasping at straws on this one now, aren't you? Jet Smith. Yeah, y'all got to get Curly Norman here. Get Curly Norman. Get Nick Shine. There have been a couple times those guys got answers that were just unbelievable. So, hey, if Harlan didn't have to eat dinner, blame Harlan, If he didn't have to eat dinner, maybe he'd have the answer. I don't know. Just kidding, buddy. Dano goes with Victor Green. No, not Victor Green either. Afraid not. Dane, yep. Chad Morton, he was guessed. Yep. Who is the wide receiver at Curly left? No. Guys, the time has expired. So, unfortunately, we did not get this one right. So the record changes to 7 correct and 5 incorrect during the regular season. I think we'll keep track all the way through the Super Bowl week, at least the regular season, maybe the playoffs. I don't know. So who is the correct answer? Well, one of them, I can tell you, not a safety. No, you got to go back to the 80s on this, guys. Got to go back a few years. The correct answers are Santana Moss and Nick Shine's favorite, JoJo Townsell. Still active on Twitter, by the way, I will mention. So JoJo Townsell had 2 punt return touchdowns, as did Santana Moss with the New York Jets. So Good try. I know that was a tough question, but yeah, this one we did not quite get. Okay. All right, so let's see, guys. I think we need to have a little bit of fun tonight, a little more fun. So let's spin the wheel tonight. Let's do the 100. Let's see here. I do not have a Jets Jets general manager wheel for good reason, because that would pretty much all want to kill ourselves if we did that one. I'm gonna pick a random one. Let's do How about we do Jets quarterbacks and we do that one? How about we do Jets quarterbacks and Jets safeties? Here's what we'll do. We'll start with the quarterback wheel, and we'll do a 5 quarterback list. Okay, we'll do a 5 quarterback list, and then because we just don't really have enough for 10, and then we could either do another quarterback list or we could do the secondary list, quarterbacks and safeties, whatever you want to do. David D is asking, what is the logo on your shirt? This is Seaside Dogs and Grill in Virginia Beach, where I won a hot dog eating contest years ago. And this was one of the prizes that I got. I got Orioles tickets. I got Norfolk Tides tickets, a couple concert tickets, a sticker, this T-shirt, a couple stickers. And I got the now infamous trophy that I have shown on this show before. Johnny Boy knows. Yeah, great hot dogs. Yeah, our old, the former president, basically the Biden to my Trump. Actually, yeah, the Biden to my Trump, Dennis. I think he had a friend whose family owned that place. I think it's still around. They got pretty good hot dogs. And I took down 18 hot dogs in 30 minutes. So that's right. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Yes, and then we had the infamous trophy. Does everybody remember the trophy? I don't know if everybody does, but all right, I'm going to take the background off for just 1 second. I got the trophy over there. Just for anybody who has not seen my my wiener trophy, I'll be right back. All right, so for eating 18 hot dogs, for anybody who has never seen this, here's my hot dog eating trophy. There you go. Winner, Seaside Dogs and Grills first annual hot dog eating contest in 2019. And there you go. So I think it says number 1, right? That's what I got out of it. Other people see other things. I don't know. Johnny, you got enough. Dude, you got to keep up enough energy for 1. Okay. That's all I'm saying. I guess some of you had not seen that trophy before. Hey, you have company over. It makes for amazing conversation. It's just when I serve them hot dogs, the room goes silent. So yeah, that's one of the so that's just a shirt I got. It felt like wearing black was only appropriate today. There's a reason I wore black. Okay. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and spin the wheel. We're going to do the quarterback wheel today. All right, so I have got to share my screen, so give me a moment. David D, does the trophy vibrate? Yeah, but that's $35 extra. All right, looks like we can share it, and I will max out the wheel. All right, I'm just going to give it a second on my phone to make sure that everything is coming through the way that it needs to. Yep, looks good. And I will pull up the chat on my phone. Thanks for everybody who's still hanging here. Dano, why is it sticky? Oh, believe me, it gets polished on a regular basis. I mean, yeah, you got to maintain it, It's all about maintaining your trophy, maintaining your most prized possession. Johnny, David D, mine does vibrate, has a speed setting as well. Yeah. Johnny, do you plug it in or is it battery operated? I think in your case you would need to plug it in because you don't want the batteries running out on you in the middle of use. Johnny says, polish your wiener trophy, LMAO, and YouTube's trying to censor that. Come on. YouTube's trying to censor him. Oh my gosh. All right, guys, here's the deal. We're going to do the quarterback wheel. We are going to do this. We're going to do a 1 through 5 list. And you just press the button. Okay, got it. And we'll see how this ranks. So you tell me 1 through 5. Okay. How does this guy? You know what? I'm going to ask. Do you want to do 1 through 10 for the quarterback wheel? Guys, let me know in the chat. Are you feeling the we could do a 1 to 10 list on this, or should we just do 5? A little bit torn on this. Do this wheel now. I'm gonna have some dinner because I'm hungry. Yeah, had a really good Reuben sandwich at a deli in Raleigh today. Good, it was good stuff. They put on like some braised cabbage instead of actual sauerkraut. It was a local made dark caraway rye bread. Decent amount of corned beef, and you could also get pastrami on it, some Swiss, and Russian dressing. Yeah, pretty good Reuben sandwich I had. All right. Looks like the majority wants to do 10 quarterbacks. Okay, we're gonna do 10 quarterbacks. Let's see how bad this one goes. All right, so we're gonna spin it 10 times, pick 10 quarterbacks, and keep in mind with the level of play we've gotten from these quarterbacks, where we're gonna rank them. So think about where you would rank a Brett Favre, a Ryan Fitzpatrick. Because we got everybody on here from Chris Streveler to Rick Meyer to Bubby Brister to Christian Hackenberg. Guys, if you drink, get your favorite ready to go now. All right. And I think we'll go ahead and pick. We'll go ahead and pick quarterbacks. We'll do it for say maybe the first 5. I think we'll do picks. So pick whatever quarterback you think we're going to land on. If we land on that quarterback, you get to pick where we put him. Tom Tupa, number 1 in our hearts. Actually, I'm gonna make a change here. Let's do this. So I'm gonna show you a little behind the scenes here how I do it. All right, let's add a stipulation here too. Delete last pick. Pick left or right. Okay. All right, let's shuffle those. There we go. Okay. So we're going to throw in a few stipulations just to make this a little bit more fun. All right, Dano, Joe Flacco, all right, Dane's doing the dishes. Good man. All right, he's going to keep Joe Flacco for the whole one. Tony's going to keep Tony wants Ken O'Brien. I'm going to go with Chad Pennington. I got to go with my guy, Chad. David D, Sam Darnold. All right, I can see that one. All right. Yeah, we talked about Sam a little bit tonight. Okay, I'll give everybody a few more seconds. Hey, Nick's here. Nick, I got to tell you, man, you might want to go back and watch the trivia. I hope if you didn't see it, you will want to watch it. But I am glad you're here. Go check out Proud NYJ Fan. If you haven't subscribed to that, what are you waiting for? Sharon goes Ray Lucas. Nick, I'll give you a second. What quarterback do you think we're going to land on here? And if we land on that quarterback, you get to decide where on the list he's going to go. About to do our first spin of the night, doing a 10 quarterback wheel. This is going to be so bad. JoJo and guys, I now tell you how much Nick loves JoJo Townsell. Yeah, Nick, you got JoJo right, but not Leon. Yeah, JoJo did stump the chat, however. Yeah, JoJo stumped the chat. There was one other one. The other one was guessed relatively soon, after about 3 minutes or so. Okay, guys, here we go. We're going to spin for the first time a 10-space quarterback wheel. And we're going to spin that wheel in 3, 2, 1. And it comes to a stop on Richard Todd. Oh, I thought that was going to be Streveler, but it's actually Richard Todd, who nobody guessed. Okay, so Richard Todd, as one WFAN radio host goes, bro, nobody was better at finding the open linebacker better than Richard Todd. But they did have some playoff success with him. They did make it to the AFC Championship game. That does mean something. So, yep, Nick, you got it. Santana Moss, you got it right. Yep. All right, so where are we going to put Richard Todd? Now, keep in mind, again, there are a lot of busts on this wheel. I'm going to pull up stats real quick. I know that the playing quarterback then was different than it is now. I respect that, but let's just look some stats up really quick on Richard Todd. Played with the Jets from 1976 to 1983. Actually, I'm going to look this up on Pro Football Reference. Pro Football Reference is much better because you can actually isolate the Jet stats. So it's going to leave out his time when he was in New Orleans. All right, career leaders passing. Okay, so I'm just going to work off of this, see where this goes. So Richard Todd, let's see, record of 42, 51, and 1. Over 18,000 yards passing. That's second in Jets history. 110 touchdowns to 138 interceptions. Overall quarterback rating, I'm not going to go there. But okay, guys, let's see. Where does everybody put Richard Todd? I think I could go middle of the road for him. I really do. Respect for a JoJo question. I got you, man. How many? Yeah, AJ Dewey's favorite quarterback. Exactly, Sharon. Exactly right. How many playoff wins in those years? I think it would have been the 2 because they would have lost in 81 to the Bills. 82, yeah, I think 82 is they won the 2 playoff games to get to Miami, and then was the infamous Mud Bowl where Don Shula would put a tarp on the field. Let's see. Yeah, he played 4 playoff games, went 2-2. Oh my God. He threw, wow. In his 4 playoff games, he threw 4 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. 9% of his passes in the playoffs were interceptions. But again, 2 playoff wins. So, yeah, definitely not towards the absolute top. But I know, Dane, I know. Dude, we're going through enough pain right now. It's like let's just pour the salt in the freaking wound, you know. All right, Dane goes 6, Sharon goes 7. Yeah, I'm going like right about the middle. I was thinking right around 6 because I just think we're gonna have so many who were like there and they were gone. So I'm going 6 myself. I'll give everybody another minute or so to about another 30 seconds to get their votes in for this particular wheel. Connor Ingram on injured reserve. Okay, there we go. All right, that's about it. How many Jets quarterbacks have played in a championship game? Got to be higher. Forget feelings and nostalgia. Yeah, Joe Namath, Vinny Testaverde, Chad never quite got there. Mark Sanchez, Richard Todd. And that's it, right? 86 they didn't get. Yeah, 86 they didn't get. Yeah, they didn't get there. They got to the semis. Yeah, so Namath, Todd, Vinny, Sanchez. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Everybody else got to maybe the AFC divisional round, like Chad did. Chad did. Ken O'Brien did. So that's basically, I think that's the extent of it, right? Has any other Jet quarterback been in the playoffs? 91. Wait, who's the quarterback in 91 that game? That wasn't Boomer? Was that? It was still O'Brien. Yeah, O'Brien. Yeah, but they were out in the first round. All right, guys. I'm thinking 6. Nick's going 5. I'm going to go 6. I'm going to balance it. I think that's about as balanced as we can get. So Richard Todd will be 6 on our list. All right, there we go. All right, let's go to spin number 2. So we know Dane has Joe Flacco. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna say we get a bust here. I'm gonna say we land on Bubby Brister, the king of the shovel pass himself. And again, Todd 3rd in passing yards. I think that is worth something. Tony Alexio goes Tim Tebow. Okay. I don't even think I put, wait a second. I didn't put Tebow on here. Yeah, Tebow is not on this list. Tim Tebow, I'm going back to the passing glossary here of all-time Jets quarterbacks. Did Tim Tebow even throw a pass? Okay. Tim Tebow is 67th among all Jets in quarterback passing yards with 39. Some of the quarterbacks who have thrown for more passing yards than Tim Tebow as a Jet: Chris Streveler, Jeremy Curley, Brad Smith, Jamison Crowder, Matt Sims, Tom Tupa, Tim Boyle, Luke Falk. Oh, Jack Trudeau, Michael Vick, Bubby. Oh my God, this is J.J. Jones, whoever he is. Oh, it's so bad, so bad. Tony goes with Ray Lucas. Okay, yeah. Nick asked, did Curtis Martin throw? Did Curtis Martin do it? Curtis Martin threw for 36 passing yards. Tim Tebow threw for 39. He's only 3 yards behind Tim Tebow. Oh my God! Even Braden Mann threw for 17 yards. He did that anyway. Oh my Lord! These. I make an alcohol reference, but Nick's here, so I don't want to do. I don't think it's appropriate. Okay, guys, let's spin number 2. 3. There we go. Someone got my eye. 3, 2, 1, spin. And we're going to land on the GOAT. Chad Pennington, number 10. My guy, absolutely. Threw for 13,738 yards, 88 touchdowns to 55 interceptions, completed 65.6% of his passes. About the only quarterback who even comes close is Brett Favre, and that was in 1 year, 65.7. Career record with the Jets, 32-29. So obviously not great, but yeah, obviously when he played, when he was healthy, the Jets won. The Jets won games. How many yards did Tom Tupa have? Where's Tom Tupa on the all-time list? We should just guess. We should do like a quiz. The top 50 passers in Jets history. Wait. Who is it that you asked for? Where's Tupa? Tom Tupa he has 174 yards. Tom Tupa is 52nd on the all-time list. 52nd. Tim Tebow is 67th. Yeah. Tom Tupa is right in between J.J. Jones and Bill Demery. You got to go back to the mid-70s for those Jets legends. They may be in the Ring of Honor next year. You don't know. All right. Tony goes with 1. Dane goes with 2. All right. Because it's like, how many quarterbacks would you pick above Chad Pennington? Namath, Vinny, and which are all debatable. O'Brien, really? You can't go any lower than 2. Dane goes with 2. Sharon goes with 2. I'd probably go 2 as well. Thinking we land on either Namath or I think Chad was better because he was just there longer. Even though Vinny did help him get a little further, but Vinny did have Bill Parcells as his coach. And again, they only had to win 1 playoff game because they had a bye. Nick, this list is more depressing than who we will end up with as general manager and head coach. I know. Just because of who the owner is. All right, the 2s have spoken. Chad Pennington will be number 2 on the list. So we got Chad Pennington at 2, Richard Todd at 6. All right, let's go to spin number 3. And we're going to spin that in 3, 2, 1. And it comes to a stop on the immortal Christian Hackenberg, who never even got into a game as a Jet, but was still traded up for by Mike McCagnon and drafted in the 2nd round. Oh, my God. Sharon says Chad for GM. I'd say Chad for, like, Congress. Chad for president, Let him run a few things. Oh, Nick was behind, 1 for Chad. All right. Well, Nick, now we're up to Christian Hack. We go from Chad to Christian. We go to the exact opposite. Guys, is there anybody who doesn't? Here's the thing with Christian Hackenberg. We never got a chance to see how bad he could be in an actual game. Some of these guys we did. Right? The Zach Wilsons, who set us back years. Rick Meyer, Chris Streveler, Bubby Brister, Luke Falk, of course. So Christian Hackenberg. I think most people would think 10, but would anybody go higher? Yeti being the contrarian, going with an 8. Tony and Sharon go with a 10. Dane's going 9. For me, I can't go any better than a 9. And that's almost out of simple. But when you're not even good enough to get into a game, man. Yeah, I got to go with the 10 too. I really do. I got to go 10 also. Yeah, I think we got to do it. All right, Hackenberg will be number 10 on the list. All right. Dano goes with a 9, is saying 9 for number of starts. Well, 0. He had 0. Yeah, he didn't get into a game. So, all right, we're going to go to spin number 4. So we got Chad Pennington at 2, Richard Todd at 6, and Christian Hackenberg at 10. Here we go. In 3, 2. Oh, one more thing before I say that. Didn't Mike McCagnon said they didn't draft a quarterback the next year because they wanted Christian Hackenberg to develop? And I think that was the year Mahomes was available. I think it was. Just checking. Okay. Spin number 4. Okay, Sharon's going with, Sharon's going to go with Geno. That makes sense. That's the next quarterback the Jets are going to see. I'm going to go with Bryce Petty. All right, Dane's got Flacco. Sharon's got Geno. I got Bryce. All right, guys, I'll give you a moment to throw your best guesses in as I shut down the tablet over here. Yeah, next week I guess we'll have some Jets Seahawks trivia, which is not exactly the happiest, the best rivalry the Jets have had. Tony goes with Chris. Of course, Tony's going with Tony. You have Chris Streveler for the rest of the night, okay? Don't get the wrong idea. All right, 3, 2, 1. And spin number 4 will come to a stop on Ryan Fitzmagic. Well, broke our hearts in week 17. And if you look at the career numbers, well, you could find a lot of Jets who have done more than him. Ryan Fitzpatrick is 9th, actually, in Jets passing yards. He has 6,615, 43 touchdowns to 32 interceptions. And his record as Jet quarterback was 13 wins to 14 losses, completed just 58% of his passes. He did have, 3 game-winning drives. And again, he was only with the Jets he only played, 27 games. So what we're talking about is like a year and 3 quarters there. But if you look at the single season, yeah, pretty much tore it up. So he has the high in, for single season, he is 2nd, only to Joe Namath. He is number 1 in touchdowns. So, yeah, it was absolutely a dynamic offense, no doubt about it. But left with kind of a bitter taste in our mouths, especially after the way the contract went. Well, 3 things. Game 17 against Buffalo, the contract, and then the way the next season fell apart. It was never the same. Yeah, Joe has 4,007. Fitzpatrick's about 100 yards behind that. Now, of course, Joe did do that in a 14-game season. Fitzpatrick did it in a 16-game season. So when you look at it that way, Fitzpatrick's a good deal behind. All right, Sharon and Yeti go with 4. Tony and Dane go with a 5. I think that's about the right spot. Let's see if anybody comes in to break the tie. One more swig of water for the working man and woman. Otherwise, I guess I'm going to have to break the tie. Oh, Hank comes in. All right, Hank breaks the tie. Hank goes with a 5. All right. I want to give Nick a second. Hopefully, Nick catches up. Hopefully, he's around. All right, I'm going to go with the 5. All right, I'm all right with that. He just wasn't there long enough, right? If we land on number 8, it'll be very interesting to see where everybody puts him. Yeah, we go with Aaron Rodgers. I will give you his career numbers where he ranks among Jets quarterbacks. I will have to do that. All right, so we got spots 2, 5, 6, and 10 filled up, which is pretty good. A little bit of variety there. All right, let's go to the next spin. We'll do one more we'll pick just this last one, and then it'll start to kind of narrow down. All right, so pick your quarterback for this one. I know Tony wants Streveler. I know Dane wants Flacco. I'm going to go with Mark Sanchez. I'm going to go with the Sanchez. All right, so this will be the last one. Oh, by the way, yeah, I still got the trophy here. Yeah. Sharon goes with Mike freaking White. Yeti wants Bubby Brister. Okay, I see another guest or two coming in. All right. All right, number 35. Nice. All right, going to go ahead and do the wheel. Spin number 5 of the night in 3, 2, 1. And it comes to a stop on, Pat Ryan. That was close. That was very, very close. Okay, Pat Ryan was the Jets' longtime backup from 1978 to 1989. Let's see, has a career record of 11 wins and 8 losses, completed 56% of his passes. Let's see, 31 touchdowns and 31 interceptions, so even there. Yeah, sacked 46 times, rating of 72.6. If you go by quarterback rating, the problem that's passer rating, and they're including all the other guys, Jamison Crowder, Curtis Martin. So it's not really fair how they do that. Yeah, Pat Ryan, and I mean, would I put him on the level of Ryan Fitzpatrick? No. Richard Todd? No. I probably have to go just a little bit below that because he was here a long time, but what did he really do? I think he had one playoff start. I'm going to check the Pat Ryan playoff numbers. So Pat Ryan played 6 playoff games with the Jets, went 1-1 officially. Went 32 of 51, 340 yards, 5 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. So he did get into 6 playoff games. So, yeah. So, guys, where are we going to go with that? Would you put him above Fitzpatrick and Todd or below that? I feel like this is kind of more like an in-the-middle one, but it's not somebody people are really going to know. Tony wants to put him ahead at a 4. Yeti and Dane are thinking, let's go a little bit lower. Yeah, I could see the 7, but yeah, playoff numbers are actually pretty decent. It's just he was really a career backup who got like spot starts here and there, kind of like a Billy Volek in Tennessee, if you remember Billy Volek. Yeah, I guess when backup quarterbacks actually stayed with one team, right? Now they rotate every 2 to 3 years. It looks like the 7s are winning out on this one. All right, Pat Ryan is going to get spot number 7. All right, let's recap. At number 10, Christian Hackenberg. Number 7, Pat Ryan. Number 6, Richard Todd. Number 5, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Number 2, Chad Pennington. So the spots we have open are 1, 3, 4, 8, and 9. We're going to have to get some good quarterbacks here. We want Namath, O'Brien, Testaverde, Sanchez. That's pretty much what we got to do here. And again, if we land on, say, like an Aaron Rodgers, what are we going to do? It's going to be interesting. This spin does not count. I did not mean to hit that. All right, we're going to spin again. This one does not count. All right, here we go. Spin number 6 in 3, 2, 1. And it comes to a stop on Neil O'Donnell. Okay, a big free agent disappointment. Coming off a Super Bowl with the Pittsburgh Steelers, was here for played only 20 games, was hurt a lot. And Bill Parcells was not a fan of him because he couldn't count on him to play, and he benched him for Glenn Foley. So Neil O'Donnell went 8-12 with the Jets, 3,943 yards. That ranks him 15th, 21 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. So that's actually, when you get a positive ratio on touchdowns to interceptions as a Jet quarterback, that's like saying something, It's sad, but it's true. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't isolate the quarterback rating. Yeah, I don't like that. All right, so only 20 games played as a Jet for Neil O'Donnell. And, of course, the team did not really succeed with him there. So where would we put him? 1, 3, 4, 8, or 9? Neil O'Donnell. Oh, yeah, not very happy. 8, 9, 8, 8. Okay. Yeah, eights are pretty much dominating. And you know what? I'm thinking that's about where I would put him too, especially considering the expectations were not met. So Neil O'Donnell gets spot number 8 on our list tonight. That's 6 spins down and 4 spins to go. 1, 3, 4, and 9. Guys, we got to start hitting it. Come on. All right, wheel. This is like press your luck, and 60% of the fucking board is whammies. Oh my god. All right, yep, 8's got it. All right. Yep, we got it. All right, spin number 7 in 3, 2, 1. Give us a good one. Come on. And it looks like, is it going to be Neil O'Donnell again? Oh, it's Bryce Petty. The wheel looks like it's really, no, that wheel, can I zoom in on this? I got to zoom in. Wait a second here. Can I zoom in? Is this going to let me do it? There we go. Okay, I'm zooming in. I'm making, you know what? That looks like it's right in the middle of Neil O'Donnell and Bryce Petty. You know what, guys? I'm making an executive decision. This is not a Bryce Petty spin. No. We are going to redo this spin. I am making an executive call. That spin does not count. Let's spin again. In 3, 2, 1. That was right on the edge, and the tie goes to Neil O'Donnell. And now we land on Aaron Rodgers. Okay. So Aaron Rodgers, currently in his Jets career, has played only 12 games, has completed 63.3% of his passes. There's only 3 quarterbacks in the Jets' top 20 with more: McCown, Favre, and Pennington. 2,442 yards. That already places him 20th. 17 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. That's actually quite good. As far as career touchdowns go, he is 19th on the Jets all-time list. He's already ahead of Matt Robinson. If he keeps this up, he's going to be around 15th. Man, oh man. But he still has a long way to catch Dick Wood, just letting you know. Dick Wood's well ahead of him with 35. It feels a little bit unfair to put Aaron Rodgers in here. Yeah, we've got 1, 3, 4, and 9. I mean, can I put him at 9? I mean, are we really going to put Aaron Rodgers at 9 and expect to get 3 quarterbacks better than Fitzpatrick and Todd and Ryan? Are we really going to do that? 1, 3, 4, and 9 is what we got. And again, I still maintain he's hurt. Boy, oh boy. Yeah, you could go a number of ways, but aren't you? I'm glad we didn't get him at the beginning of the wheel. Dane's going with an honorary 4, like an honorary oos. Is that what we're doing? All right, looks like the 4s are winning out here. All right. I think the 4s are going to win this one out. All right, Aaron Rodgers gets spot number 4. I'm fine with that. All right, we've got 1, 3, and 9 left. So this is going to be spin number 8 in 3, 2, 1. And it's going to come to a stop on, it looks like Neil O'Donnell again. Doesn't count. We get to respin. 3, 2, 1. And we land on, Rick Meyer. Yes, yep. This is a perfect number 9 for us. Maybe the biggest mistake Bill Parcells ever made as the head coach of the New York Jets was going to Rick Meyer after Vinny Testaverde got hurt and not trusting, Ray Lucas or even Tom Tupa. Not that Tupa would have stayed, but Lucas. So Rick Meyer went 2-4 with the Jets, 1,062 yards. That ranks him 32nd, 5 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and one of the worst number 2 overall picks. Right up there with Zach Wilson. Rick, no time to wallow in the mire, as Chris Berman used to call him, right? Yeah, this is going to be an easy 9. Yeah, he cannot be anything but 9. And I'll tell you what, there aren't many quarterbacks I would rank below him, but Christian Hackenberg would be one. All right, guys, all we've got left, 2 spots, number 1 and number 3. Are we going to be able to do this? I don't know. I really don't know. But dang it, we're going to try. Here we go. Spin number 9 on the night in 3, 2, 1. Spin. And a hush comes over the crowd as the wheel lands on Aaron Rodgers again. All right, we get to respin in 3, 2, 1. We almost got the pick left or right there. And it comes to a stop on, oh, God dang. Oh. Zachary Capono Wilson. Say his name, and he appears. I said his name. And we got to put Zach Wilson at spot number 3 because I know you're not putting him at number 1. Zach effing Wilson. Hey, you know what? He might get to go to the playoffs this year. May not play, but he's going to get to go to the playoffs. He's got a chance. He's got a chance. Yeti wants to go number 1. And every writer from freaking Utah would do the same, even if we were starting the wheel fresh with Zach Wilson. All right. Sharon goes my way. Hey, maybe we'll land on the delete last pick next. That's our only saving grace here. We got to land on delete. All right, I'm spinning right now. 3, 2, 1. Come on, delete last pick. Delete, delete, delete. Now we're not going to get it. Instead, we're going to get Joe Flacco as our number 1 all-time Jets quarterback on this wheel. Just to give you a couple of stats. So where does Joe Flacco rank on this just illustrious list? Joe Flacco, I got to hit the next button, is 22nd with 2,253 yards, a career record of 1-8. I didn't know it was that bad. 14 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, not bad. Joe Flacco went 1-8 as Jets quarterback. I had no idea it was that freaking pathetic. And I was there for that opening day against Baltimore when he had that loss that one day with the rest of the Jets crew. What a day it was. One of the best trips I've ever had. It's just a shame the Jets game had to mess with it a little bit. Well, guys, there is no way around it as far as if we won or lost this wheel. I may have to frame this godforsaken list. Man, we had a chance, but when you finish it up with Joe Flacco and Zach Wilson in your top 3, oh my gosh, you are down in the sewer. This is a Woody Johnson level of suctitude. So, all right, guys, I think we're going to call it a night. Man, we were on for over an hour 45 tonight. That was great. All right, so we are going to call this next week. I think we'll do the top 5 coach candidates. But, after what we went through over the last 36 hours, this is what we pretty much had to talk about. So, everybody, thank you again for all your support. Super chat, super thanks. All those are available to keep this thing going because, with the time and subscriptions, it ain't free to do this. So I appreciate everybody's support with thumbs up and whatever, everything else. So enjoy the rest of your, I pray, stress-free weekend since the Jets will not be playing. And I will see you right back here with more content from where it is by now, right? The Wicker Chair. Have a great night, everybody.